Hi there, darlings. I'm Petra, and today I wanted to get into the topic of the worst fears or enemies of the narcissist. And I think this is important because oftentimes when we are involved with them, we are so focused on our own fears that we walk on eggshells, we are afraid to rock the boat, we feed into their insecurities, we try and do everything in our power to keep them happy. And so, by doing so, we are focused on our own fears, because it is a fear when you do not stand in your truth, when you do not speak your mind, when you do not voice your opinions. That is you and I living in a state of fear. So, to take the focus off of our own fears and to shed light on the fears of the narcissist, I've just made a list to go through. And, of course, always share your story and the fears that you have encountered in the relationship with the narcissist. I think one of the things is that a narcissist is fearful of a healthy relationship because they know when they have scoped us out, when they have seduced us, when we have gone into a relationship with them, they know that this is not going to last, because they realize that their whole agenda is to set you up for that gigantic fall, to abuse you. And they know that at some point you will no longer stand for this, that you will leave them, or that, when you are onto them, they will discard you. So they are fearful of healthy relationships because they know that with a healthy relationship, you have to show integrity. You have to show vulnerability, to open up to your partner. You have to have courage to face the challenges of life as well. And this is something that they are incapable of doing. So even though they might logically want that relationship with someone, they know that they will not be able to obtain that or maintain it, because they know that at some point their mask will drop, will fall. They refuse to examine their own inadequacies and faults. And this is because even though they show us that they feel superior, they are these, larger than life people, under that very thick layer, that mask, is very low self-esteem. And to healthy people, when we are criticized about our behavior or about stuff that we have said or done, it hurts. It feels uncomfortable to us when we are shown this mirror, criticized or given constructive feedback. It feels very uncomfortable to us. But we are able to take that feedback, that criticism, look at it, study it, explore it, and then go about changing certain patterns or changing our behavior, changing the way we say things in order to be compatible with the other person. A narcissist, of course, does not do this, because when they are given constructive criticism or feedback, they see this or they feel this, they experience this as a huge blow to their already low self-esteem. So, whereas with us it's uncomfortable, to them it is shattering their world. And this is another fear, that they have to at some point start dealing with those, or they will be shown the inadequacies and their faults. And they know, because they find it way too painful to deal with them, and they don't like criticism, this is why they will shut you down, be mean to you, go into anger mode, give you the silent treatment. And another thing is the truth. That is another thing that they are fearful of, because the truth, I've brought this up in a video I made months ago, where when you shed light on the truth, or the truth is the light really, and vice versa, when you shed light on their truth, their false identity, this is when they will shriek back and become very fearful, because they hate. A narcissist is so fearful of being exposed. Not only to you, you will expose them at some point, but they know that because you are hurting so much and you want to get your story out there, that you will be telling other people about the abuse you have been through. You will try and convey to other people what this person is truly like. And this is why, so shortly after a breakup, after a discard, the narcissist will launch into the smear campaign, because they want to be one step ahead of you. They know they have done wrong. They know, absolutely. So in order to protect themselves and be one step ahead of you, they will go about informing your mutual friends, your other family members, maybe your children, maybe even your partner, about what kind of a mean person you are. So they will turn things around and make you out to be the abuser and they are the victim. This is the whole core of the smear campaign. This is where it starts, and this is why they continue to do this for a longer period of time, is because they fear being exposed. So they will do everything in their power to again take that power away from you and stop being exposed. So put up this front, you know, as I said in the social media video, that they will put up a front of being so happy and so successful, and look at my new partner, and it's just sickening. It's sickening, because you know the truth and they are simply terrified of being exposed through your truth. An insult. Now, you know, just to keep things fair, who likes to be insulted? Who likes to receive that insult? Nobody. You know, so when we are given an insult, when we are insulted, we may just, you know, get angry or feel very uncomfortable or feel hurt again. But at some point we can overcome that. We can deal with that insult. We can say, oh, well, you know, the person is crazy or whatever it is, and we can move on. But when you insult a narcissist, again, it is another blow to their already fragile ego. And this is also what we do, you know. I'm just going to digress here for a moment. I ask myself this question, as I'm sure many of you have done. This is a question I receive in emails as well from viewers, from clients, where you wonder if you yourself are the narcissist. And why is this? Because, as I just said at the beginning of the video, when we are in relationship with them, we tend to, of course, you know, be very cautious about how we treat them, because we know what the consequences are of that. So we also put up a front. We try and protect ourselves by not confronting them, by walking on eggshells, by trying to keep the peace. And there comes a point when you get to total desperation. You are totally frustrated. And when you are at that point, you will lash out and you will start insulting the narcissist. I can be a bitch too sometimes. I can be very nasty at times, especially when I have reached that level of frustration. And so I'm not trying to portray myself as someone who is angelic, but to use this as an example, I got to the point in my friendship with the narcissist that I felt very depleted, very frustrated, and I lashed out at her. I said very hateful, hurtful things. I wrote her terrible emails. And this is where we go about mimicking the behavior of the narcissist. So I think the question also was, are we capable of portraying very strong narcissistic traits ourselves? Yes, we are, especially in the relationship, because we start to mimic the things they do, the things they say, the insults. We lash out, we insult them, and at some point we come to realization that that was not a very nice thing to do. So again, we are capable of introspection. We can go back and think, that was the wrong way of going about it. So you go back and you apologize to the narcissist for insulting them. So that was just to sidetrack there. This is what we do. We take on certain behavior patterns of them. And that is, you know, that is really quite understandable, because when you are in such close interaction, in such close contact with a disordered person, you of course tend to mimic. So at some point we also become that chameleon that I spoke of. But again, we are able to separate ourselves from that when we realize what we have done, when we become aware of our behavior and awakened to that, we can correct it. The narcissist, however, once they are insulted, they will hold this against you for the longest time. They will even go about planning a revenge on you. And you know, it could be a terrible insult, or it could be something that a healthy person would not be that insulted by. But the narcissist chalks this down in their memory, and they will plot to take revenge on you. You can be sure of that, because the insult that you have given them is like a gunshot wound to their fragile ego. So they will not soon forget this. This is another fear of theirs, is the insult. The shame, you know, I think it's good to just mention that there is a difference between shame and guilt. Shame is there is something wrong with who I am, and guilt is there is something wrong with what I am doing. So, just speaking of the fears again, the narcissist fears shame. They do not like to be shamed. Because what does shame do to them? Shame, when you shame them, when you call them out, when you confront them, you are actually ranking them. Whereas before, when you would play into their insecurities, put them on a pedestal, tiptoe around them, you know, offer them great compliments, just all the stuff that we do as codependents and empaths, we put them on that pedestal. And again, when we reach the point of frustration, when we start seeing through the cracks in their mask, we will take them down from that pedestal. So we will give them a lower ranking. And this is a terrible, shameful emotion that they then experience. They feel the shame of being taken down from there to here, to down here. That is the shame that they will feel. That is also what they are fearful of. They don't feel guilty, because even though they realize, they know what they do when they inflict abuse on us, they will never feel guilty about that, because they cannot feel the remorse. And when you feel guilt, you are feeling that there is something wrong with what I have done to the other person. But a narcissist just simply does not feel this. And that is why you will not see them being remorseful. Another fear, another enemy of the narcissist is being confronted on every aspect of their wrongdoings, and especially on their lying, because to cover up a lie, they will go about and proceed to make up another lie and another lie and another lie. So you've got all these lies going on. They tell lie after lie, and of course they believe their lies. They do not like to be confronted with this, because that means that they have to peel away at that lie in order to get to the truth. And as we know, the truth is another thing that they fear. This is all tied into their shame. They do not want to see the truth of who they are. So basically what it comes down to is that the narcissist fears all the emotions that they perceive as a weakness. So what are these emotions? It could be gratitude. It could be vulnerability that they perceive as weakness. Remorse. All these things that they perceive as weaknesses. And this is why, you know, it's very strange the way this sort of folds into each other, is that we are sought out for these great qualities, for these vulnerable emotions. And once we have been seduced and we are in the relationship, these are the very things that they will go about trying to destroy. So you will feel terrible coming out of that relationship, as you all know, as we have all been through. They will destroy all those good qualities. They are envious of all your good qualities. And yes, they do see them as weakness because they believe in their false self. They believe in just operating from a place of not being authentic. This is then what they try. They try and fill up that void by looking for all the great qualities in the targets that they reel into their lives. And once they have reeled you in, yes, they will go about destroying those very qualities, because it is, to them, they see it as, what I don't have, I don't want you to have. So they will destroy these qualities in order to make you feel just as void, just as terrible, just as depleted as they do. That is what it is all about. So, when you have started on your road to healing, on your journey of healing, you know, it is something that you should not take lightly, because the road of healing has all these ups and downs. There is the waves that come, there are the storms that come through the healing, and then there are also the quiet days, the peaceful days, the days that you just feel, you feel so at peace with yourself. And then you get out of bed the next morning and then you feel this rage and you're thinking about them all the time. That is all part of your healing. Don't try and stop that. Don't try and suppress that emotion. Because what you are in fact doing when you are on your journey of healing, all those great traits, the traits that the narcissist perceives as a weakness, the traits that draw them to us, it is your job through your healing to rediscover those traits and to start to value them and to start to let them shine again. Because going through the relationship with a toxic person, we are also made to feel guilty and shameful about these good traits that we have. And we forget that we have them during the abuse. So going through your self-care and through your healing journey, it is so important to bring those traits back up, to look at them, to explore them, and to make them part of yourself again, to internalize them. So, you know, it is a continuous journey of healing. And you will notice when you become aware of yourself, aware of your thoughts, aware of your emotions, aware of how you show up in the world, you will get up in the morning and you will be aware of how you get out of bed. You will be aware of the fact that you have maybe thought of your narcissist 8 times today instead of 9 times. You will be aware of the fact that you have less urge to get back in touch with them, to pick up that phone and ring them. So it's all these little things. The journey, the healing journey, is a whole lot of small successes. And you have to be aware of that in order to fully acknowledge your healing at some point. Get to that point of indifference towards the narcissist, and even to go as far as to have compassion for the narcissist when you have completed your healing. And this is because we realize that they, as much as us, are wounded souls. But they have chosen to deal with those wounds in a vicious and evil way. And we have chosen to deal with those wounds in a compassionate and loving way. And this is why you can have compassion for them. Not condoning their behavior. So don't get me wrong there. I'm not condoning the behavior, but you can have compassion for the hell that they are truly living in. And the same hell that they feel on the inside is what is brought to the surface and what is fired at us. So just remember this on your journey of healing, that there are good days and there are bad days. Don't beat yourself up about the bad days. Just remember that you have had a lot of little, small successes, celebrate those, focus on those, and just take your healing one day at a time. And remember that the narcissist is very fearful of people who stand in their truth, who own themselves, who own their dignity, who own their self-respect. They are fearful of that because they know that even though you may be vulnerable, you are not gullible. And that is what is going to keep them out of your lives. So, I hope that has shed some light on maybe a few questions that you had. And I just wish you continued success on your journey of healing. And just be aware of what you're going through, of your emotions. Stop beating yourself up and have compassion for yourself going through this horrific ordeal. Love and light to you, and speak to you all next time. Bye for now.